Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Clements, and this is the Hesed Podcast, equipping your community for spiritual formation as we all hope to become more like Christ, allowing His Spirit to develop us into His functional body. This is week 3 of our 8-week series, and today we're going to talk about how joy is related to good discipleship. Discipleship can be messy and slow as we learn how to put to death the desires of the flesh. We will mess up, we will forget who we are at times, and we need our joyfully attached community to help us remain the course. As we train ourselves to remain in joyful connection with the Father and our community, we will start to recognize what contributes to joy and what leaks our joy. As Michael Hendricks writes in his book, The Other Half of Church, the human brain was designed to look for and run on joy. My joy drops when I sense few faces shining on me and few people happy to be with me. He says, I may start to believe that God is no longer happy to be with me. Our soil becomes depleted. Having a steady diet of joy in our lives puts our brain in a healthy place for growth, which Michael Hendricks calls good soil. He said, soil that is low on joy is prime for addiction. When our brain looks for joy and does not find it, we become vulnerable to pseudo-joys. These are substances and experiences that trick our brain to temporarily shut off the unpleasant emotions. But they are non-relational and ultimately unsatisfying. Increasing our joy will naturally calm our cravings for pseudo-joys. And building joy should be an integrated part of any addiction program. I have personally noticed when I'm serving in Angola, my focus is completely on other people. I don't have time to look in the mirror much, or even consider how I look in my clothes. My desire for treats and other pseudo-joys is nearly non-existent. I might have a cookie after a meal, but then I'm satisfied. I don't feel the dark calling out for me. I don't know if you've ever felt that, but I've had food addiction in my past, and one cookie was never satisfying in the lonely moments. I usually had to put them all away, and by that I mean eat them all, for the desire to stop. When my focus is on others, this issue goes away. As we intentionally integrate joyful meditation and loving community into our lives, we need to also begin to notice what joy leaks we have in our day-to-day lives. Joy leaks are anything that causes our joy to run out. Hendricks teaches one cause of draining joy is the lack of the development around the 6 big emotions, which are sadness, anger, fear, shame, disgust, and despair. As we have these emotions, our response is important. Not to ignore the emotion, but to have the emotion and connect it with God and joy. I have a group of friends that get together often, and inevitably the women and men would tend to split and chat in different rooms. And every time we gathered, one man would always find his way to the women's circle and make an irreverent joke about how we, the women, need to keep it down, and we sound like a bunch of cackling hens. Each time it happened, I would feel so hurt. I felt like he needed a new joke, and his ignorance needed to be addressed, and my anger would rise. But if I addressed him, it would be out of hurt, and it would come out ugly. Then, during my alone times, I would remember his comments and fume over it, and plan how I was going to straighten him out. Then I learned this concept of adding God and joy to my negative emotions. So the next time it happened, I stayed in my true identity. I forgave him right away and looked to Jesus and remembered how much Jesus loved me until I felt my joy arise. Then all of a sudden, the disrespectful joker's issues remained with him. I didn't need to carry it anymore. This example was a young thought and therefore easy to address. There are others that might take longer. For deeper emotional ties and bondages, it will take repetition and perseverance to build new neural pathways and experience a renewed mind. It will happen over time, like creating a new path in an open green field. The first time when you walk through the high grass, it will pop back up, but only after walking the path over and over again will the path become a known and comfortable path. It is this way with our minds. With the Holy Spirit's guidance and our willingness not to conform to the things of the world, we can have renewed minds. Now it's time to gather with your community and talk about issues or mindsets or emotions that you see patterns that you would really like to see transformed. Well, that's the end of week 3 for the Said podcast.